Welcome everyone, this is Starfield Signal, the place for everything Starfield. I am your host, Luke Woodward, and today we're breaking down the most unique system in Starfield, shipbuilding. Starfield is an RPG simulation built with several complex systems coming together to form a holistic and unforgettable experience. While Bethesda are no strangers to character creation and base building, it's the shipbuilding that is a brand new feature in this game and will be one of the most unique systems we've seen out of Bethesda yet. We're going to dive into the building section first as it's the main focus for this video, but after that, we'll go back and point out how many different spaceships we actually see in the reveal video. And I'll be honest, there were a lot more than I initially realized. Hey, if you are not subscribed, we would love for you to consider joining us on the journey. It has been an incredible ride so far, and it's only going to get better the closer we get to release. Thanks. Okay, let's dive in. When we first board the ship, we see what looks to be like a common area, maybe a section of the ship that's used for meetings, plannings, equipment storage, and this might even be where your companions congregate when they're not on task with something. Here we see a quick shot of the pilot's cockpit. And a quick note, I believe we've only seen one seat cockpit so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was an option to have two seats to have a proper co-pilot. Next, we see a research hub, and it's implied this is on your ship. Originally, I thought you could only have these in your outpost, so it's really cool that you can have one with you all the time. It might even be neat if the research facility on your ship is limited in some way as a mobile option, but then the research facilities in your outposts are more comprehensive and can tackle bigger projects. Also, this does seem to be one of the most realistic games I've ever seen, because look at this poor researcher's face. She definitely looks like she's at work. Next, we have another section of the ship that looks like a comms or ops center. I tried to zoom in on the 8K video file, but I still wasn't able to make anything out that was discernible on the monitors or whiteboard. Oh, except for this. Next, we finally get into our building system. Here we have a nice grid layout with what I think looks like a fairly clean and minimal interface. We have info on the top right and left corners of the screen, then a stats display at the bottom. In our top right corner, this will be the place for information on credits, how much our vendor and our character has, and as we'll see later, the cost of each part as well as the total cost for all changes. On the top left, we have indicators for our ship levels. Looks like there's 3 different W indicators, possibly for weapon types. Then we have what I think is ENG for engines, then SHD for shields, and lastly GRV for our grav drive, the device that allows us to warp in space. There's also number indicators for a reactor level as well as total equip power. I'm unsure of what these mean exactly without any context. Finally, down on the bottom of the screen, this looks like several different stat levels that will be affected by the changes we make to our ship. As they start the customization process, they zoom into the cockpit first. We can see that this particular cockpit is named the Magellan C2 cockpit and is made by Nova Galactic. It has a cargo capacity of 60, health of 9, and 2 crew slots. I assume this means it adds 2 total slots to your crew capacity and not that it requires 2 crew to run. This cockpit costs 10,000 credits and has a mass of 10. We might assume that is 10 tons. And at the very bottom here, we see this specific cockpit actually requires the skill Starship Design. As they move on, they choose to replace an engine. They grab a Relodyne White Dwarf 1000 engine. As you can see from the changes on our HUD, the engine costs 14,000 credits, has a mass of 100, it gives several other pieces of info and then how it affects our existing ship build. This one lowers our engine power by 3, increases our grav drive by 1, then down at the bottom, we also see we lose hull integrity from 317 to 252, and we lose cargo capacity from 460 down to 450. Mobility also takes a hit from 70 down to 49, but we'll see here in just a second, they add a second one and it boosts the mobility back up to 98, brings the hull integrity back up to 352, and finally adds another 100 tons. We also see the same process happening with other modules. We see a Titan 350 helium-3 tank added to the side here that really boosts the engines and the grav drive stats. Then we see the highlighter go over the NG-15 lander port 4. This is just landing gear. The port means which side of the ship, and the 4 indicates it's towards the front of your ship. You can see in the stats window it only has health stat. This could just be a basic lander, but maybe more advanced landers could have other stats that potentially boost your shields or maybe come with a small cannon to improve weapons. But the main thing you want out of a good lander is the ability to land. As we keep going, we see a couple of other sections without much info. Then we get to the first weapon, the Horizon Defense Mauler 104L cannon. Man, what a great name. Here we can see that weapons have different classes of quality and require reactor power to function. In just a few more frames, we see the Dragon 221P MW pulse laser, also from Horizon Defense. Next, we get our first look at a reactor. This is what will be generating power for your ship. You can see on the left stats window, this is a Class B. It generates 16 power, even has a repair rate, which is an interesting stat, and I bet that may somehow tie into crew mechanics as well. And of course, as the power center of the ship, it's going to cost quite a bit. This ion beam H1010 reactor from Zhang is 78,000 credits. We can also see more options over in the right window with their respective cost and power levels. Then we switch back to a list of landers. I looked to see if there was any difference in the descriptions here, but they all just say they help land on the roughest of terrain. So I don't think these will limit which planets you can actually land on, although that would be a cool mechanic if your landing gear did have to pass some sort of check to land on certain planets. The last few seconds of the shipbuilding segment feature cosmetic design. We see the cockpit and other parts of the ship changing through colors, and it does look like they offer hue, saturation, and brightness levels, so you're not limited to presets only, so you can really customize each of your looks. Finally, you might have noticed as we were looking at some of the other footage, there is an indicator in the bottom right corner that changes from nominal, warning, and then error. It looks like error only applies when you don't have a part attached that is necessary for flight, such as fuel tanks. Nominal is a bluish green with a check beside it, which would seem to indicate that the ship is clear to fly. As best I can tell, it looks like the warnings are there to point out when you don't have a certain weapon type equipped, or if you significantly reduce one of your stats, but I'm not sure yet. Hey, if you found this video interesting or it's helped get you excited for Starfield, leave a like on the video and let me know in the comments if you're going to steal or buy your first spaceship. Thanks! Now let's go through the video and identify how many different ships we can spot. At the very beginning of the gameplay, we see our initial ship here at the start of the video. Here a little bit later, we see the Crimson Fleet ship at the research center. It's called the Crimson Fleet Ghost. Later on, we see the same Crimson Fleet ship coming to help out, and it actually makes me wonder if this is the same ship we saw earlier. Is there an RPG mechanic at play here where we could potentially sabotage that ship before we enter the research facility? That might be cool. A little bit later, we see our ship again. Here, I think this is our ship again. Here we got another Crimson Fleet, same as before, I'm pretty sure, and then another Crimson Fleet ship, but this is an actual different ship. You see, it doesn't have the big engines on the side like the others did. Again, we see Crimson Fleet, same as the first. Here we have some enemy ships, and these look like Crimson Fleet as well, because they have those big engines on the side. So far, we've only seen our ship and then Crimson Fleet ships, but now we're starting to get a little bit more variety. Here we have a different ship. You notice the engines look a little different on the side. We get our first look at a cargo ship here. This one is a big fuel transport. Here we have another new ship. Again, notice the different thrusters or engines, possibly from a new manufacturer because they look a little different. Here we have our ship again. Here we get another look at a new ship. Again, notice the different engines on the side. We have our ship here, and then what looks to be like a new ship because it looks to be like it has a little longer of a body to it. Again, at 12:15, we see here we have a new ship. Again, at 12:17, features a new ship. 12:18, Looks like we have 2 new ships. 1220, we have a new ship, and then 1221, we also have a new ship. All of these are new. And finally, at the end of the video, at the 14-minute, 15-second mark, I'm pretty sure this is our same ship that we started the video with, but it is giving us a fantastic outro to the gameplay reveal video. So in this gameplay reveal video alone, I count 15 unique spaceship builds. I think this is going to add a lot of longevity to the game. With all of the different RPG mechanics playing out to make each of your characters and stories unique, having a wide variety of spaceship builds is only going to enhance the unique feel of each of your playthroughs. If you've had fun with us today geeking out over the shipbuilding mechanics in Starfield, I would love if you subscribe to the channel, leave the video a like, and tell us in the comments what you're going to name your first ship. I just might have to go with the Ebonhawk. Thanks so much for watching, and may you find wonder as you journey through the stars.